guys, what's going on? It's Scott from Stream Punk Sports alongside Mr. JD Walker, and we are looking at the international sport of cricket. More specifically, the massive comeback by India defeating Australia 329 to 328 in the 2020-2021 season. The Gabba basically stopping Gabba. First time in 32 years that apparently the Australians have lost this one. So, gentlemen, how much do you know about cricket to start things off?
Here's what I'm going to say. I don't know a lot, and that sounds like a big comeback. But my question is, is that like did they come back after the half? Because there's always this rule that I have about comeback. If you can do it in the first half, I can do it in the second. So please.
The thing about cricket, let me break this down because we're Americans in this case. Cricket is not a big sport here. Baseball is more well known. So first and foremost, there are no 9 innings. It's 1 inning pretty much on each side. Generally speaking, this is the rules that they believe they went with on this particular one. Sometimes they can go back and forth, but after 10 outs, your offense is done. It's the other side's turn. You're on defense. So it is entirely possible to pick up 200, 300, even 400 runs on an offense before you make the 10 outs and you have to give up the offense there. So these games do go for a long period of time. Especially if they don't have what they call an over limit. So 6 pitches, it's considered an over. Sometimes they do 20 overs, 25 overs. And at that point, 120 pitches, 150 pitches, whatever it is, your offense is done to make the game a little shorter. Didn't apply here. This one, by the way, good.
It seems kind of like home run derby before they put the time limits in the rounds where like you just go until you get the certain number of outs, and you can just keep going for however long it takes.
Yes,
until you get the 10 outs.
In this case, also a couple things. Every ball is in play. There's no foul ball. Anywhere is hit is playable for runs. For anything what's going to end up being in that particular case. Additionally, if you hit the ball and you don't like it, you do not have to run. You do not have to risk an out by running back and forth. You and another guy are going to be going back and forth in this particular case across the lines themselves. This sport specifically has been around for hundreds of years. It is extremely popular in Asia. It is extremely popular in Europe, Australia as well too. But again, not so much here in the U.S.
It is picking up some popularity in the U.S. as, especially in areas where there's a lot of where there's like Central Jersey, where there's a big Indian population. It is starting to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, my day job is in IT, and I had a large contingent of Indian and Pakistani friends, and they used to play all the time. Now, I will say this. One of the things these guys used to always tell me is, it's better than baseball. We don't wear gloves. We play barehanded. And I'm seeing plenty of guys with gloves now. Like they have these bigger, they're not baseball mitts, but these guys are wearing gloves now in these high-level games.
Yeah, I mean, even that ball right there is technically in play and is not a foul ball. But again, you don't have to run if you don't want to. However, that ball will hurt because it sometimes will go 120 kilometers or faster an hour, even though it actually bounces off the surface. So that can really hurt.
Ow.
Yeah, what a mask there. But yeah, India in this case, little by little is making the comeback. That is 4 right there because it goes over the boundary on the ground. If it goes on the fly like something like this and goes over the boundary, it is an automatic 6 runs. So unlike baseball, where it depends on how many runners are on base, no, it's a straight 4 or straight 6. The whole idea is that you run back and forth and take the risk of the ball actually hitting the wicket itself. If it hits the wicket, it's an automatic out. Like I said, there's 10 outs for each side. So the big thing here is India had such a massive comeback that had to be done in this Gabba, to break Australia's run of 32 years, I believe, winning this thing. And India at the same time was extremely injury ravaged. So that kind of a comeback of 320 plus runs is honestly pretty friggin' thrilling, man.
That's incredible. And
the British chipping away. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. And I too, I have a lot of coworkers in India, and every time that somebody took a trip over there, to handle something over there, there would be like a company cricket trip. So I have a few coworkers that attempted to try playing, usually to hilarious results. But this is
also the umpires wear hats.
Yeah. I mean, everybody should be wearing headgear because 120 kilometers an hour for something that looks like it looks like it's even harder than a baseball. So that'll hurt. That'll rearrange your face pretty good if you.
I've handled that ball. It's harder than a baseball.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
not much harder.
Also,
it's hard to be harder than a baseball, but it's harder.
It still hurts like hell if you get whacked with it, though.
Yeah.
Now the other documentary one time. There was someone I saw in a documentary one time that described the India-Pakistan cricket rivalry as imagine if the Yankees and Red Sox had nuclear weapons pointed at each other, and I think that's a great description for how
that's. Yeah. Well, the closest that me and Obie have is basically the Cold War from the 1980s, U.S. and Russia and all that kind of stuff, which the Olympics made interesting that way. The thing about cricket also is if you notice that they're standing over the top of the wickets, because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is my understanding on this. If the ball hits the wicket and you swing and a miss, it is an automatic 1 strike out. So again, I mentioned 10 outs and then you're done. So if you hit those wickets and your opponent swings and misses, that is a straight up out and you're done. That's the other side of it too. You have 10 players on offense. As soon as you make an out, you are done on offense individually as well.
Okay. I mean, so what I think is interesting about this contest that we're watching is I think we've kind of put our foot in our mouth a little bit along the way here. As Americans, we associate cricket, I think, primarily with Pakistan and India. But it is a huge sport in England, as you said. And then anything that's huge in England makes its way to Australia as well, based on Australia being the major colony. So this is just like a weird concept, I think, above everything else. Not only do I not know if 300 big comeback or not, but I hear cricket and I instantly think of a different part of the world based on what I've learned. So to know that that India has a rivalry with Australia in this sport is kind of an interesting tidbit and piece of information. It looks like that was it. India wins by 3
they complete
wickets.
the comeback. Yes.
Which we kept calling runs.
Yes. Well, actually, no.
How many runs are in a wicket, or are they the same?
I have no idea.
I think a wicket is a run.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could. Yeah. I got to clarify that. I know. Also, you get 1 runs and not 1 run. So. Fun fact on that is actually that's the way that thing is set up there. Cricket is not a bad sport. Cricket is one of those sports that, like I said, has such an international appeal. I think in some ways it's a little more. I've been watching a little more on Hulu lately, as far as like these international matches go. The fact that the matches can go on for as long as they do, I think might hurt the U.S. audience and our lack of attention span a little bit. But what's nice about it at the same time is that you get a bunch of people together and you can turn this into a week-long affair. And that's pretty badass.
Well, I know that in recent years they have developed a shorter version. I forget the name of it, but it doesn't take multiple days. But it is something that it at least wraps up in a much shorter amount of time in the one day.
They have a fixed number of overs, so 6 pitches equals an over. After say 20 overs or what equivalent is 120 pitches, your side is done. So you have a much cleaner, much quicker game. But every single pitch becomes so much more important. So every time you don't run, you're basically losing the amount of pitches that you have available to you.
Yeah, it was my understanding that again, I'd love for comments to correct us and help us understand what is a sport that's for us to not know about it is kind of crazy. Because it's in some ways almost as big as soccer. It's as big as American football around the rest of the world for sure. It is my understanding that it's like almost like rugby, where you have rugby 7s and rugby 15s, where they're the same sport, but they change things up. So it's not like it's new that there's a set number of overs, but there's an overs match, and then there are a test match. So a test match is unlimited overs and can therefore go on significantly longer, which this particular game was. Versus one that has a set number of overs, which I think is not just a set number of overs. It's like a 20 over game. Like there's predetermined numbers. Like when you're playing ping pong, this game goes to 11, this game goes to 15, this game goes to 21. That is my understanding, and I know I'm ignorant. So comment away and let us know, because we are ignorant on the sport that, as sports guys, we shouldn't be. It's criminal.
Yeah, I'd like to learn more about this. I just haven't. Yeah.
But yeah, any thoughts on this match? Were you guys there? Did you see any of this? Let us know in the comments. I'm really curious to basically get some input from both India and Australia and anywhere else that may have actually seen this. Sri Lanka, any of the other countries in Asia. How big was this match for you guys? Gentlemen, any other final thoughts?
I'm excited to get the feedback.
All right.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So thanks as always for tuning in. I appreciate it. This is Stream Punk Sports, Americans React to, in this case, cricket. For Mr. Obie Spencer, Mr. JD Walker, I'm Scott Churchson. Like, comment, subscribe. Give us your thoughts, good, bad, and ugly. Want to hear them all. Thanks as always for tuning in.